Today I'm hurtling towards the surface of Kerbin to test out the new altitude radar code that I have. This should fix a problem that a lot of people have been having with the altitude radar, where if you're over water or you're too high up, it will give you a negative value. This code will actually look at the value and see if it's negative or not. If it is negative, it will give you the regular altitude instead. The script I have running here is just showing the output of altitude radar. And as we get low enough, we'll see that that value will switch over from the regular altitude to the radar altitude. And this is just a result of some limitations that are in the game. Now, because it will default to the regular altitude, it should be a little bit easier for you to write your scripts. You don't have to watch for negative values yourself and switch it over yourself. Here I'm flying over some water to demonstrate the fact that as we cross over from land to water, the radar altitude value will clamp to the altitude of the water. So anytime the radar altitude now is below the regular altitude, it will take the regular altitude instead. This is a lot more rational because if you're over water, you probably want the distance to the surface of the water rather than the surface to the bottom of the ocean. Even if you did want that value, the game will only give you the distance to the seafloor until it hits about 500 meters or so, and then it'll start giving you negative results again. So I think this will be a lot more useful for everybody. There are a lot of under the hood fixes in this release, and for example, one of those things is better whitespace handling for certain functions. Here I'll put some crazy whitespace here just to show that your freedom to use whitespace is a lot improved. Periods at the end of a pair of curly braces are now optional. If you don't put one, the closing brace will be considered an implicit terminator. If you're a mod developer, you can now define functions within your own code that can be called from kOS and can return values to kOS. From your onStart function, you can send a register kOS external function message to each part on your vessel, one of which will be the kOS unit that the user is using. As part of that send message function, you'll be sending in an object array, which will give kOS some information about how to call the function you were talking about. The first parameter is the name of the function as you want it to be typed inside kOS. The second parameter is simply a pointer to the object for the function to be called on. The third parameter is the name of the function as it is in your code. And the fourth parameter simply defines the number of parameters that will be passed to your function. Here I'm defining three functions. One that will simply ape back whatever value is sent to it, one that will send the result of multiplying the two parameters that are given, and one that will cause the part to explode. Okay, so let's try adding our new part to a vessel. And now we'll test the first function. This function takes a string, but the system will attempt to cast if necessary. Now let's try the second function, which is multiply. And of course, we can take this value and assign it to a variable if we want. We can even combine these kinds of calls with lock statements and expressions. You can also call these using the call statement, which works the same way. It simply throws out the result after executing it. So that's about it for this update, except for bug fixes. I hope you're enjoying it so far. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Until next time, hack responsibly.